hear me well. It's clear if I need to change anything. Regrettably, I'm a little under the weather. I'm trying to absolutely super dose myself with with vitamin C so we can sort of kick this in the teeth as soon as possible. Let me do this. Just feels a little more intimate. Yeah, so a little under the weather, but we're trying to treat this thing as a job, right? So that means it doesn't really matter how you may be feeling. We want to get you out there, get used to doing the reps. Still got to clock in. So that's what we're doing today. We're clocking in. So there's been, it's a little bit of a slower news cycle. I think we covered a lot last live stream. So I just want to see. There was a couple of stories that happened, a couple of things that have been going on. But I've been too busy with work, so I haven't been able to keep up with what's going on the page. But we're still pushing stuff out, still doing that sort of work, and that's absolutely the goal. How's the audio sounding right now? Let me know. Thumbs up if it's decent, or if you can't hear me at all. Get back to me on that. Um, but there've been a couple of things that have been rattling around in my brain, and instead of me just doing the normal internalizing thing, let me just talk some things out. One of the things is just about it's about YouTube itself, particularly in live streams. As I'm trying to do this more, so we can. Hey, how you doing, Sugar Bear? So we can actually feel more of a connection here as we just get used to these things and talking. So one of those things, like when I'm always trying to learn how to do something, you have to learn and you have to look, you have to consume. So I'll go into other people's lives and see what they're talking about, see the format they're using, and there's so much variance. There's so much variance. People doing things this way, this other way. I'm trying to find that through line where it makes sense. And then I had that eureka moment. It's like, yeah, they're just being themselves. They're just being themselves. So part of it, one of the reasons I think I often struggle when I'm doing stuff like this, because I'm always trying to do more and have like this production value. I don't want the dead zones, the dead space. I want to keep you entertained with back and forth. How you doing, Mariam? So one of those things I want to do, if I have more actual back and forth, that's easier for me to go back and forth with you guys. So outside of that, yeah, I'll watch and people have all like this dead space. People are like going around cooking. They just hit live and live their life. So to me, that's maybe at some point, I can loosen up and that can kind of be the thing, the brand. Um, so COD kid, I'm fighting. I'm fighting a good fight. I a couple days ago, I think I woke up with a sore throat. Vitamin C is on deck. Emergency is on deck. I'm doing everything but resting. To be fair, doing everything but resting. But so we're gonna. I wanted to use that as an excuse not to do this live. I have the sore throat. I'm fighting, but I want to treat this as a job. I don't want to treat this as like, this is something I want to grow. I don't want to just set it, forget it, and go about my business. So even the show must go on, but again, we want to have like a nice back and forth. And I wanted to try out the new iPhone 17, and like the vitamin C, I got an orange because what else color would I get it in? So I want to put the phone through its paces a little bit. Besides that, I will rest today. I recorded a couple videos. I got to set things up for tomorrow. Yeah, exactly. What's a little cold, right? At my big age, what's a little cold? And I know how we men tend to get, a little bit of something lays us low, and then I'm gonna complain. I'll probably call my mom and I'll complain to her that no one seems to love me and take care of me when I'm sick. But so one of the things like I put on the description today, just about, because it's just making the rounds, making the news about Cardi B and Stefon Diggs, and that's not my usual bag. Like, let people do what they want to do, except when we watch sort of things where we're like, historically that hasn't worked. And I want to use it as an idea to talk about a person's past and the history. At what point do you get to be more than who you were? And I had to first do like a timeline, right? An actual timeline, because the first thing, I don't know if everyone's familiar with them. I'm not, right? I know Cardi B, right? We all know Cardi be. Stefon Diggs, we know, a little bit about a little bit. But so I looked up like a timeline, an article, so we can go through that. We can see what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, what type of lessons or anything we can extract from that. And then in the meantime, we can have fun on the way, right? We can joke, we can laugh. If you guys have opinions or something like that, I want to pay a little more attention to the chat. But again, we're always trying to get our reps. We're always trying to do more. We're always trying to say, okay, if you're able, let's see what we can do. COD kid, listen, I've got my one talent is that I'm stubborn. Like I'll beat my head against the wall trying to learn how to do something. And most of those that I learned about was like the skills I have today, they came from my brother and sister because they were good at it and they got praised for it and I wanted the praise. Like my sister, when we were very little, she was valedictorian in elementary school. My parents loved that she would read all the time and they praised her for it. So what did I do? Right? So I go straight to I start reading. I'm saying, I want the praise. I can do it. I can do the same thing. It's not a problem. My brother got into photography just naturally. So I was like, I want to be able to do that. So all the skills I have today is because they were good at something and I wanted to praise. I'm the middle child, if that makes any sense. But I don't have any musical talent. Bro, I don't have. You can play 5? That's ridiculous. That's not fair. That's not fair. I think if I could play piano or a saxophone, I think I would be I would be like, perfect. That would be it. There's nothing else that I have to go. I have to take care of after that. Just got it all. Right? It's like poverty, Snoop. You guys are funny out here. Yeah. Every time. So yeah, if I could do those things, that would be dope. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah. So the timeline, right, of this whole story. So I just looked up an article and then we can go over it. It's literally a timeline of Cardi B and Stefon Diggs' relationship. There was plenty of reasons to speculate why Cardi B, an NFL star, Stefon Diggs might have been an item following a split from rapper Offset. We know that much. We know she was at Offset. So the following month, Cardi and the athlete would make their relationship on Instagram official, making this the Bodak Yellow rapper's first public relationship since filing for divorce from Offset in July 2024. Cardi's used to her relations being public, and we know she was on Love and Hip Hop. I know that much. I know she existed there. So October 9th, 2024, social media rumors pick up steam. Back in October 2024, Cardi B was forced to push back against rumored relationship with Diggs for the first time. Right. And, I think that was the first time it was kind of put out there and what people were kind of curious about because Stefon Diggs had an absolute terrible history with women. And I believe there was a clip with his teammates asking, they were asking if their teammates were like, would you trust Stefon Diggs with your like sister? And they all like, what was the one person they said they wouldn't trust? And it was him. Like, just all around. So Cardi B, December 18th, Cardi B confirmed she's dating amid Offset divorce drama. Cardi B acknowledged that there was indeed dating during her tumultuous split with Offset. The strange couple were duking it out online with Offset claiming in since deleted post that his ex-wife looked like a hoe who was only focused on D. I kind of wonder why become so obsessed with this. So dating because I'm single means I'm worried about yeah. So February 14th, Valentine's Day, Cardi B and Stefon Diggs arrive at Miami Hotel on Valentine's Day. It's confirmed the public appearance of Diggs and Cardi happened on Valentine's Day this year. So it's got to be serious. It's Valentine's Day. Come on, right? That's the most thing. Hey, daughter, sorry, how's it going? And moderator got to work hard today. Yeah. So also, daughter, sorry, if you didn't know, you are also a moderator on this channel. Yeah, if you've been like a day one, yeah, that's an easy way for me to make you a moderator on this channel. Shout out to the day ones. That type of support really means, all the best, all the difference. April 27, 2025, Cardi B confirmed she's got a new man. In Canon X Spaces chat with fans, Cardi B confirmed that she was seeing someone, although she didn't name Diggs specifically. It's been a couple weeks and haven't addressed nothing, she said in time. Most of these things are like just filled with cursing. May 5th, 2025, Cardi B and Stefon Diggs spotted at Met Gala after party. Uh, I don't know if we saw the pictures of those. I know those things didn't make their way to me. In the last public sighting of these two, before their much talked about courtside appearance, Cardi B and Stefon Diggs were seen arriving the actual Met Gala separately. However, gossip outlet Just Jared claimed that they were spotted entering gala after party moments after. Okay. So this is just like, it's places we're together, and then, on the 17th is the whole thing with her being pregnant. And I don't know, outside of looking at it and saying, well, it looks like you have a type, right? And that's how we kind of start relating it back to the stuff that we talk about. That how we get sort of types that we get, what's the specific terminology? We get an imprint, the type of person that we like to be with. They have a certain look, they have a vibe, they have an energy. And then we stick with that person throughout time, throughout our existence. We just keep going back and forth with that type of person. And when we try to deviate from that, that's when we call it settling, right? That's when we call it settling. Yeah. I don't know what it is today. Maybe it's a weekend thing. Just a lot of people coming out in the chat today with nonsense. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to the haters. A view's a view, and I really appreciate that. For a new channel, that's still appreciated. But so one of the things that I've always been curious about is why is our relationship with celebrity. And I get that it's a two-way street. We give them our awe and affection, and then in turn, they're supposed to entertain us. But I think there's just some parts of life that should be sacred, that should be treated as such, that I don't think, if someone can find a relationship that social media has helped, right? Like it has actually helped keep people together, it was improved their relationship, I'd be interested. I'd be interested to find some of that. Some of the people that we do look up to, and I was watching the Breakfast Club, and Charlamagne was saying how if you look at, he was talking about Aisha Curry and how when she comes up here and she, sort of embarrasses Steph Curry, how we end up just remembering, or we think less of that person. Like we wouldn't want to switch places with that person. And the point was made, say like Will Smith and Jada. I'm saying this guy's a multi-millionaire, and most men wouldn't want to switch places with him. And it's because of how powerful the person you choose to be with is. I don't think my case is, I don't think there's a healthy relationship that social media has strengthened. And they use Denzel not being in that sort of limelight. They even compared their body work, say Will Smith and Denzel. So arguably Will Smith has been in greater blockbuster movies, but most people wouldn't put him in the same category as Denzel, just because of who you've decided to link up with, who you decided to be with. That makes such a difference in your life. So as we understand it, one of the most important things that you can do is who you choose to be with. So one of those indicators, this is why we think it's so important, you look at who a person was before you got with them. And you look at that person historically, who they are, the type of men or women they've been with. Like if I could, one of the things that I've seen very recently, like with coworkers and contractors we're working with, is I was having a conversation because like these two people work, different companies, they got together like at a party. And I was explaining a concept of like, whoever you sleep with sleeps with you, right? Whatever they are known for, you then have like by association, right? If you want to hold yourself to a higher standard, a higher degree, then you need to also do the same and say, okay, where's this person at? What is their history? What things are they into? Because otherwise, that's a two-way street, and it's something that takes years. Yeah, that the red table, and to be fair, like the amount of people that were like the amount of women that were pushing that red table talk, like our way, men's way, like seeing like, yeah, this is, and we were like, listen, this is not something that we I think men thought was okay, especially when she had him on there and talking about this entanglement. And it was just like, yo, it's fine. If I remember just seeing his face, and the only thing I think about person, I'd be like, I'm gonna tag you back. I said, love from Mars. Is Elon up there with you guys? Let me know. Um, so that was just like, yeah, we never wanted to be him in that situation. And it's dope. And there's a couple of motivational things that I've got saved on my phone just that Will Smith was talking about, that talks about often. I'm like, this is a wild way to sort of go out. Um, yeah, again, there's some information, like Sugar Bear said, there's some information that you need like Batman to come and say, yo, what happened with August Alsina? And then the beating that would precede it had to be like 3 hours long before I said, yeah, this happened. But just watching, like if you ever want to watch a man's spirit break and then watch his woman look completely indifferent to that, we have that recorded for all time. Just watching it. And he had the temerity not to flip out. I give him credit for that. He didn't flip out. I would have flipped out. The red table, I would try to flip it. If it was bolted down, I would embarrass myself further trying to flip the thing. Some information, again, I don't think social media makes these things any better. It gives us so much insight and sometimes unwanted. Right? That's why when something goes wrong for people, they often like, yo, just keep us in your thoughts and prayers and give us privacy in this time. But that's not how we're built. That's not how the internet was built. We want to know it all every single time that we get a chance. We want to be all in there. It's unfortunate. It's absolutely unfortunate. But again, I don't think it helps. That's why I think when you see successful relationships, the ones that we do see, because I think we have that negativity bias. When things go wrong, we get on the apps and we talk about it. We talk about it. We talk about it. So if you would conclude if marriage was a viable thing today, you wouldn't. You would say it didn't work. You know, you would say like, yo, it doesn't actually work for anyone because look at all the examples we have of it failing. And then people coming in here and just talking about it failing again and again and again and again and again. It would seem like, and when you see both sides saying more and more, yo, I don't see marriage as something that works. When I think I saw another clip of someone saying, like, when you talk to men in their 50s and 60s and say, what was your greatest mistake? They say, what's the greatest mistake? And they say, oh, getting married. So what was the best thing that happened? When I got divorced. And you hear women saying, women in marriage are saying, if this one would fail or, my husband would die, I would never do it again. Like I would never do it again. So when we see more of that, we have the bias of that it doesn't work. What's the point? And this is, again, social media not helping the point, because when people are successful in things, they get kind of silent. Happy birthday, Sally. People get kind of silent. They take their happy relationship and they go elsewhere. Right? When people have successful marriages, they don't tend to come online. Or there's just a faceless account and use YouTube like the way it was supposed to be used back in the day. Just, hey, it's entertainment. Hey, I post some pictures of my friends and keep up with birthdays, like when Facebook originally was here. And then they go about their business. But what we see today, what would be a lovely thing to see, is more happy couples talking about things. I think there's one channel that I found on Instagram, and there's an adorable couple. And everyone in the comments says the same things. They just come there and they get a little renewed vigor for relationships, and just they're happy for it. Like, so I think we're so starved to see successful relationships, but we're so entertained when things go wrong, when things go sideways. So that's why I think people are watching stuff like Travis Hunter, Cardi B, they're watching it to see when it goes wrong. They want to be there. They want to be someone that says, yo, I called it. I saw it happen. I knew this was gonna be the thing. I knew it was gonna collapse. So they're entertained by that. To that fact, I saw this other thing, and we'll get back more on the Cardi B thing, or maybe Stefon Diggs. That's why, like, someone's history is important. But there's a trend that was revived on TikTok about how to get over a breakup, and it was said to, you just keep dating them until you can't stand them, right? Until you hate them. You just stay in that relationship until things keep going so bad that you're just so happy to leave the thing. And we have all these unpopularized ways to be awful to each other, right? We just get on here and we find new and new ways to just be awful, or just when things that should have just left, right? And just like say, all right, listen, I'm over this. This doesn't work for me. I'm fine leaving this thing, right? That's just an easier way for us to do things. I think once we take the convenient route all the time, and we don't care about someone else's feelings. You may, be growing disdain and hate for this person, but they may be trying to fix the relationship. They may be actually trying to be with you, and it's like that's not the important thing to you. So it's a it's a tough way. It's an awful way that we have to look at things. Unfortunately, maybe someone create another platform, or maybe there's just communities that I haven't come across yet where people just kind of talk and affirm each other, right? They say, and they're more interested in uplifting one another than looking and waiting for the downfall. You know, but again, I won't hold my breath on something like that. We'll just keep it pushing, do what we got to do. So yeah, if you're a supporter of dating someone until you're absolutely tired of them, feel free to let me know, and how that's actually working out for you. So yeah, there was that locker room video I was talking about. I suppose it's Stefon Diggs' wild reputation is Cardi confirms pregnancy, right? And I wish this just was like I wish I could find another way to play the videos on this, but like an actual reaction video, but maybe through a green screen, but we'll worry about that later. Yeah, if you guys, I don't know. I hate our, sort of addiction to celebrity, but at the very least, I think it provides us with a good, did, did you get kicked out the stream? What happened? See what you could. I think when we are so obsessed with something and it just becomes part of the sort of lexicon, right? It gets like, it's a good way for us to use this as an example so we all know what we're talking about, rather than looking at, and still anecdotal, but rather than looking at an anecdotal experience as saying, hey, I know a guy that this worked out really well for. We all can see, hey, if I talk about Denzel, we all kind of know in the community who Denzel is, how his relationship goes. We understand that. So in that sense, I get the obsession, right? I get the obsession that way. Oh, they put you back to the channel? Oh, I guess the algorithm likes me today. Shout out to YouTube. Yeah, so, and maybe because I think you subscribed, so that probably put it back in your feed. And I appreciate the subscription as well. So, yeah, I think when we're obsessed, we can look at that as examples of why things may go wrong, why things actually may go right. But when we don't have examples of it going right in our faces, social media becomes kind of useless for happy relationships. So I think we need to be more careful of what we're consuming, right? We, almost like treat it like how you treat children in social media, not social media, or just their internet time, or their screen time, right? We should be more mindful of saying, okay, I know what type of content this is, and the more I'm fed it, the more the algorithm pushes it to me, the more detrimental it could possibly be for me, because now I internalize these things. Now I go out and say these things. If you think about it in the sense of some like mannerisms, right? As you, let's say, clock it, right? The clock it. How does that disseminate? How does stuff like that disseminate? Because it starts online, and like a virus and so it spreads. So if that could get you to start changing your mannerisms, changing how you operate, changing how you move, think about just how much that negativity also plays into you, right? How much it actually goes in and changes the way you think, changes the way you actually behave. We need to actually say like, okay, I know this, I'll have my dose of negativity and then I'll do something positive. Or I'll simply say like, I'm off of this for a bit. I'm just going to take a little break and pick up a book or do something positive, do something I find interesting. Otherwise, you can get really inundated by just what social media is always in your face, right? Your phone is always in your hand, or It's never. It's how many people do you put your phone a room away from you? It's always close by. And if your phone is close by, it's in your hand. And it's in your hand, then you're looking up something else. What's the, what's on the menu today for social media? You look at that, and then that'll be you. That'll be the next thing you do. Next thing you're bringing in. You're bringing in. You know. So one other thing that I've seen here is just about like, and we've had a video about it, just emotional vulnerability and like women saying they want men to yearn from them again. And I don't know if I made the point anywhere else, but it was about the fact that I think we used to yearn for women when we viewed them as like sort of mysterious, right? In days before we were super connected to the internet, we were able to, we weren't able to know every facet, every detail of who you are. So there was mystery involved. We were curious, and that makes you run through our mind again and again and again. So what happens, when we finally meet up, when we finally have that chance, we want more of that. We want to keep that. We don't want to let any of that go. What Spider-Man Simon, yeah. Lady who was a casual hookup and wants to be friends. So we're friends that cut ties. Being friends won't get me laid. Yeah, being friends that's not gonna get you laid. Not at all. That's what she's saying. She wants to be friends, or basically she wants to keep you around for the friend benefits. Right? You get that. Right? If you guys already were doing that, just say I wasn't really interested in friends. That's fine. I wish you the best. Right? Or I'm full up on friends right now. Right? I'll circle back with you in a couple months to see if you still want to be casual, but not otherwise. No. And sometimes that's just a test, right? That's a test. But just enjoy yourself. Go elsewhere for whatever whatever thing that you're looking for. But most importantly, don't get mad about it. Don't get mad about it. Right? Just be like, oh yeah, cool. Salute. Go about your business. So yeah, you don't, in this case, right? This is a great example of yearning for someone. When you would yearn for someone when you didn't know things about them. It's hard for you to go from a relationship with them to now just be friends, and now still think about them in that way where like I really want this person. I really want to be. You already know the secret's out. You already know about all these things. So you just leave that alone. If we want to go back for a time of yearning, I think the cat's out the bag. It's Pandora's box. Everything's out at this point. It's hard to think that any of this makes any sense because we're inundated with all this, lack of a better term, sex, right? We see all of it everywhere, like without a fail. It's in every time you open up social media, boom, you see it. Boom, you see it. So it's hard now to look at women and see the mystery behind it. You've put it on there. Like I remember a time in high school before, then after social media hit sometime in the middle of that, or the internet hit in the middle of that. Now you started getting access to things that you used to have to know the right people for. You used to have to know the kid whose dad had, the magazines, right? Or you had to know the guy that had the video, and then you had to be, close enough to ask to borrow the video, or when people had it at the house. So now it's just you just open your phone, and whether or not you're looking for it, the algorithm assumes that a young, healthy male is going to want to see this, so they'll show you it. That's it. It's just that easy. So it's hard for men to think about yearning. It's hard for men to then also, the other request, you want us to be emotionally like vulnerable. Or for such a long time, men were told to go back and, do the work. Right? And say there are men, that went back, healed, did their whole, they did the therapy thing, they worked themselves, they became better. There is a very real reality where now those men have returned and you don't qualify for them because you haven't done such work yourself. And I think that's what we're seeing as we sort of age into being the actual official adults. People in their 30s and 40s, they're like, no, I've that magical soup time that men need to become better. right? In your 20s, it's time for experimentation. You're trying to find what what you can possibly invest into, what you can possibly grind, and then let that sort of set the tone. In the 30s, that starts, now you have more income behind that, you have more connections, you have more drive, you're more focused. You can take that and accelerate that. In 40s, you're supposed to start coasting on these things. 50s, all this sort of starts coming into play. And that's your financial stride in your 50s. So if you do all that, you do the work, right? Yeah. You do that, you do the work. What happens is when you come back and you're still trying to date and you've taken time in between the dating, or you were divorced and you took time in between that, you come back and the same people told you, hey, you need to do the work, you need to work yourself. And you come back and they haven't done anything, right? They haven't done anything. Then what happens? Then there's an expectation that because I've known you, right? Because we have this connection, I've known you from some other time here, that I should still have this access to you. You should still want me because you wanted me in the past. I think men experience this. Men that have done that sort of work themselves to become who they are today. They see that. Michael B. Jordan was a good example of that, where that other woman from his class, he was like, "Yo, you used to clown me, and now you're trying to grab me for an interview." And people blew up at Michael B. Jordan for that. But this is a very real reality for men that have done the work to kind of be successful, and women that have done the work that have actually are desirable. You turn around and there's those same people that used to clamor about you or even had access to you at one point. They still think they should be entitled to that. We see that in women that when they were younger and they were chasing what felt good, emotion what felt good and wasn't really good for them in their, for their life, for their likely outcome. So as men, we hear, "Oh, you had a baby by this guy, but now you want different." Yeah, that's fair. You want different, right? We're all supposed to be able to learn from our mistakes. We're all supposed to want to do better. We all, gender civilized, just have to be ready to understand that some of the decisions we made when we were younger are going to impact us now. Except when you have money. except when you have Stefon Diggs, Cardi B money, right? Because this is a different field. Right? Most of their issues can be solved with money. Most of our issues, yes, can be solved with money, but we don't have access to it. Hey, we don't have access to it. Oh, you have 4 kids. We have 3 kids and you have another one on the way. Yeah, you have money for it. Right? Rihanna. No one can tell Rihanna what to do. She got money for it. We're all just sitting here like, oh, but the most important thing is that we can't look and take advice for what they're doing, how they're living their lives and things that applies to us. It's not how it works. Unfortunately, it's not how it works. Listen, guys, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on your way in. It's a new channel, 3+ months old, and we're trying to do all the YouTube things, right? Live streaming. When I have time, my work schedule is hectic, and it's probably going to be hectic for quite a while. But when I have time, I want to be able to do these things and actually connect with you guys and actually have a back and forth, and do all do all the things that I can do to ignore sort of the hate that comes through, but really have conversations with you guys. That way we can kind of bridge this gap between just the face on your screen and the words just in the chat. Because sometimes it's like these mobile streams are a good way just to bring in new people because you see it when your phone, you're just scrolling. But then I do 2 videos a day, maybe 2 shorts a day. And I like to do a bigger video recap at the end of the week when schedule permits and time permitting. It's a bigger production. And I enjoy it. I enjoy the creative aspect of this. So part of that creativity is actually knowing what you guys like to see. Come on the channel, come on the page, hit the subscribe button, see what you like. Take a load off, peruse some videos, add your comments in there when I can. I like to be part of the conversation. That's what the whole point of this that we're doing here. But again, I started with saying I'm a little under the weather. I just wanted to come here and be able to do this for a bit. And thank you for your attention. Hopefully in the coming days, I'll be able to do something. I'll be feeling better. We can do a longer thing and I can give you a greater heads up that that we're actually doing something. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, about the voice. One of my friends said I need to narrate my book on Amazon, and I'm thinking she might have a point. She might have a point. So I've got to get working on that. Add that to the tally of things that need to be done. Again, guys, subscribe. It means the world to a smaller channel and lets the algorithm know, oh, we're in here for the long haul, and it'll push the videos, it'll push the content out, and we like to see what lessons we can learn from things rather than jumping down people's throat. When it's warranted, we can jump down people's throat. When it's not, it's usually not. We can just learn what we learn and then bow out gracefully. I'm a fan of that. I don't like to beef with people. When people jump in the chat, say what they want. Say what you want, right? Unless you're willing to say that to me in real life, we cross paths. It's not a threat. It's very easy to be brave, right? On the phone, through text. Right? It's very easy. But it's also very difficult to come on here and show your likeness and talk to people, right? I'm not hiding behind like an avatar or no. I think that it takes away, it detracts from trust, right? It detracts from that. So I'm always about us actually doing. Let's do the work. Let's get better outcomes. I'm trying to be optimistic for the human race. Yeah, and if you guys have articles or links to videos that you want me to go over, you can find my email in the description in the channel. And shout out to people that actually have sent things. I know another person reached out, wanted to actually bought my book, so shout out to them. Stuff like that. That it's weird when you think about it's small, right? It's small. A like is free. A subscription is free, right? A comment is free, but it means it costs you nothing but the grease from your thumbs, but it means so much on the other end, right? It means that, okay, this has viability, this has legs, there's interest here. I'm trying to build a core fan base that's going to be there from when we started at 2 subscribers to wherever this can go. And one thing I have to teach myself, just be patient. Just be patient, do the work, put your head down, do the work. Again, I've never had haters that were doing better than me. So, hate away. A view's a view, right? A view's a view. So guys, I appreciate you guys. Again, I'll try to give advance notice, maybe like a day or two when we're going to do the next live. But outside of that, you always can come. You'll always see like two videos a day coming out. And again, come in, drop a comment, hit the email if there's something that you actually want to see. Stuff like that makes all the difference. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I appreciate the belief, right? Appreciate the belief. That's all we can do, right? We're not here to take the credit away. We all know none of this was possible. So, guys, I'll see you in the next one.